I'm Holly Peay. I work at RTI International. I am a social scientist, and I'm also trained in bioethics and clinical genetics. And I do research around how people make decisions. So we actually are using mixed methods. We're using both quantitative and qualitative, but the majority of the work is qualitative. And the components we're really trying to understand from the SEARH participants is how people who end up deciding to participate in any of the cure trials come to that decision, what they're expecting from their experience, and then what experience they actually have long term. So it's really around their motivations and how the decisions are made, and then whether they feel like they've made the right decision over time. And we do the same thing actually with people who decline, so that we also understand why people say no, and then whether they as well feel like they've made the right choice over time. So I think our research will be applied in a number of ways. So the first is that we are intending to develop some mechanisms, actually structures for looking at these kinds of concepts in cure trials that could be applied across other populations, so that we are going to be able to start to develop data that can be compared, understanding what things might be unique to particular trials or particular populations. The other things is that we have goals about developing some guidance, developing some ethical guidance for how this research can be done in ways that is most respectful and most ethical for the participants who are involved. And then I think more concretely, definitely we expect that the findings from our study will have implications for how the clinicians speak to participants about the potential benefits and harms of participation, and also about the actual processes of participation, so about research burden, things like that. So it is unusual that you have clinical investigators who will allow outside researchers to come in the middle of what they're doing, explore the impact of their work on their participants. It takes a lot of sort of humility and trust for people to be willing to allow outsiders into their processes and really understand the perspectives of the participants, especially at times when they might be particularly vulnerable. And so that idea of nesting is really that concept of allowing us to be integrated every step of the way into that cure trial process, so that we don't just ask people after they're done, what did you think? Because we know that people change their perceptions over time depending on what happens to them. So allowing for us really to walk with participants through the process.